full of surprises, where nature does things a little differently. A continent of contradictions. Welcome to wild Australia. One of the most unpredictable deserts in the world can go months without rain. And then get soaked hard and heavy. It kicks off a season of frenzy. This red kangaroo, Australia's pogoing poster boy, knows the good times won't last. Fortunately, to get a female roo to mate, just add water. In a land of marsupials, the red kangaroo is the champ. Practically man-size and weighing up to 90 kilograms. Only the males are red. Fast or slow, the roo's spring-like legs conserve energy better than running. The question isn't why do kangaroos hop, but why the rest of us don't. This doe, or blue flyer, has been in reproductive overdrive since the rain swelled the grasses. She's not eating for 2, but for 4. 1 in her womb, 1 in her pouch, and this 1-year-old Joey that's still suckling. Soon he'll be on his own, to make it or break it in the inevitable drought. So far, the Outback has generously fed the Joey and his milk-making mother. But Mother Nature can be cruel. When the land goes dry, so will Mama Kangaroo. If that happens, before the gummy bear of a baby reaches about 6 weeks, she'll die and get tossed out of the pouch to give the dormant embryo in Mom's womb a better chance. But now, this multitasking mom serves her babies 2 kinds of milk from separate nipples. The older Joey gets a high-fat formula, while his 6-week-old sister suckles milk that's easier to digest and rich in antibodies. Meanwhile, an embryo waits for his sister to outgrow the pouch. Then, like a Pez dispenser, the embryo will take her place, as long as mom's eating well. A kangaroo doe is practically never not pregnant, starting almost as soon as she's out of her own mom's pouch. She can keep the reproduction line going for her whole life, pausing only when she lacks food and water. Even on the world's driest, flattest inhabited continent, life in the desert has its high points, like this place. The McDonnell Ranges, thrust up about 300 million years ago and eroding ever since. If you think the landscape looks forbidding, wait till you see some of the residents. This central bearded dragon still wears its dark pajamas to soak in the warmth of the evening and early morning sun. Nearby, the world's second most toxic serpent, the eastern brown snake. As the sun beats down, the dragon fades so he doesn't overheat. Blending into the soil, he can eat his salad in peace. Maybe. Leaves and flowers won't cut it for the eastern brown snake. In a country with the 10 most lethal snakes in the world, he doesn't mess around. The hungry dragon might have an inkling something's up. Fast and feisty, this biggest of the brown snakes kills more people than any other snake in Australia. One bite from its tiny 3-millimeter fangs can poison nerves, stop a heart, and cause massive bleeding. At last, the lizard gets the drift. Now the hunter finds himself hunted. Monitor lizards aren't choosy about what they eat. This guy, Australia's largest lizard, finds plenty of menu choices. The parenti can grow 2.5 meters long and give an Olympic sprinter a run for his money. Parentis have huge hunting grounds, but the brown snake slithered onto this one's turf. When Australia's largest lizard meets the continent's deadliest snake, something's gotta give. Their tongues can sniff out prey from far away. And they don't give up easily. The parenti follows the trail like a flame down a fuse. No one knows if he's immune to the snake's venom, but he's a brutal assassin himself. The snake escapes to a burrow. But no one's home. Only problem? It's a dead end. Chased by the parenti, the deadly brown snake gets backed into a corner. The parenti has him right where he wants him. But not so fast. The lizard can't maneuver in the cramped burrow. A bite from this bad boy isn't worth the risk. He'll grab a bite elsewhere. As the lizard lumbers off for easier pickings, an amazing scene unfolds. A spectacle seldom witnessed. A living storm blowing in. But this is no ordinary storm. It is a tempest, a tornado, a shimmering cloud that overtakes the outback, drawing these travelers for around an hour every morning when they descend to drink from this isolated watering hole. Parakeets. Each budgie has only seconds to gulp down what it can before another drops in to take its place. They need to drink more than 5% of their body weight each day. Not so easy on the driest continent. After the rain, the budgies binged on fresh grass seed, and their population soared. The megaflock moves like a single organism. They have no leader. When one bird changes direction, the others follow. Budgies from all over converge on this single watering hole after the smaller holes have dried up. Now they have a more immediate problem, because their arrival hasn't gone unnoticed. Boom time for budgies is peak time for predators. Each bird vies for the safety of the center. It's a bright day for the black falcon, but he's in for a surprise. Budgies have a drinking problem. Unlike most birds, they don't need to lift their heads to swallow. Great for power drinking, but not so good for spotting aerial predators. The falcon swoops in, swift as an arrow. But the dizzying swarm throws him off his game. He strikes when the budgies land, stirring them up again. Still, they won't ditch their watering hole. Suddenly, a new arrival, and the danger doubles. The tide has turned at the watering hole when a whistling kite puts the parakeets in peril. Now, no place is safe. The kite's a decent hunter, picking off stragglers on the water. The limber falcon nabs parakeets out of thin air. As calm returns to the waterhole, the patient Parenti strolls in to claim the battlefield casualties. The waterhole is just one stop in the budgies' never-ending nomadic search for grass seeds. Normally, flocks rarely reach more than 100 birds, but greener pastures make for greater flocks. They preen to strengthen their bonds. And win a prime perch by pecking, not pecking order. It's every bird for himself. While a flock of budgies can be massive, a mob of kangaroos averages around 10. The males, called boomers, battle each other, but the fight's fixed. Usually the older, bigger boomer wins, and no one gets hurt. The prize is access to the does. Before the paternity prize fight, younger boomers practice their moves to hone their skills. As the temperature finally cools, the day shift ends. When many birds and reptiles call it a day, some flesh-hungry mammals seize the night. With teeny, tiny paws. Don't let them fool you. This beady-eyed fellow is no mouse. It's really a vicious, bloodthirsty marsupial predator, out for the kill. Bugs, beware. Given the chance, the fat-tailed dunnart will devour small lizards. But first of all, juicy bugs supply all the moisture the dunnart needs. When the hunting's good, the pee-wee predator stores fat in its tail to carry it through the lean times. If the night temperature plummets or food gets scarce, dunnarts can slow their metabolism and lower their body temperature dramatically. Not much longer than a stick of gum, the fat-tailed dunnart is one of 20 species of Australia's so-called marsupial mice. The spinifex hopping mouse truly is a full-fledged, eek-inducing mouse, not a marsupial. Like the budgies, the hopping mouse population rises and falls with the grass. Mouse families hold up in sandy burrows, and they're brilliantly adapted for desert life. Their noses prevent water loss, and their high-performance kidneys hang on to almost every drop. So when they pee, It's super concentrated. That's good, because it means the mice won't wet themselves in terror when this monster closes in. The knob-tailed gecko strikes a pose. Which the nosy mouse can't resist. Satisfied, the rodent heads to its hole. Until it gets an idea. If the gecko won't be friendly, at least it can be useful. As the lizard pulls its most ferocious face, the mouse licks its spit and snags some moisture. That's not a trick they'd try with this fellow. This Woma python picks up the scent of the mice. It finds the burrow and opens the back door. While the Woma python tries sneaking into the mouse burrow, a foolish resident comes to see what the commotion's about. He's seen enough. Where there's one hopping mouse, there's usually more. Just one unlucky rodent is all he needs to keep him going for about a week. A new day in the land of the red giants. The mob searches for greener pastures as the grasslands dry up. But some have more than food on their minds. A young buck checks out the scene. Females are ready to mate just 2 days after giving birth. But the bucks have to duke it out to win the right. Their heavy tails give them balance and buoying. Male kangaroos never stop growing, so the older bucks deliver the biggest blows. Missy's outgrowing her pouch. At about 4.5 months, she's looking cramped, but she's also starting to look like a real kangaroo. In the meantime, the outside world has become hotter and drier. With no green grass, the doe settles for drought-resistant shrubs. If things had started drying out like this 2 months ago, the little one wouldn't be here now. Mother's milk adjusts its nutrients to help the joey's claws and fur. The thick pelt shields the sun's heat, keeping the kangaroos cool. The pouch can hardly contain the joey's long legs, though she still has months before hopping out of there for good. Until then, Mom handles everything, from giving baths to cleaning the poo and pee out of the pouch with her tongue. By eating it, she recycles a third of the water she needs to make milk. Baby has it easy in her air-conditioned womb with a view. The entrance contracts and expands to regulate the temperature, and sweat glands control the humidity. As the sun climbs higher and hotter, Mom scrapes away the hot soil to reveal a cooler layer. It's more comfortable for the joey, too, who can sleep through practically anything. Besides mad dogs and Englishmen, roos and emus also go out in the midday sun, and they're better adapted for it. Kangaroos have their thick fur, and emus have an insulating layer of feathers that blocks 98% of the sun's radiation. While the heat's no problem, finding water is. The desert's drying up, but the calls of koalas signal a nearby watering hole. Emu moms lay the fertilized eggs and make sure Dad tends the nest. She wanders off, leaving him to raise the chicks and raise the young. No one would mess with Papa Emu, who's more than 2 meters tall, with strong legs and sharp talons. But his chicks sure look tasty to dingoes and foxes. A moment's inattention is all it takes. Emus need at least 5.5 liters of water daily. Some kangaroos hop more than 10 kilometers for a sip. Satisfied, Papa concludes the family outing. His young can live on their own at 3 days old, but will likely spend the next 2 years absorbing Dad's wisdom. Today, the smallest, flattest continent in the world is also the second driest after Antarctica. In this landscape, the McDonald Ranges stand out like a beacon, but it's a shadow of its former self. These weathered and eroded ranges once towered as high as the Canadian Rockies. The water-loving valleys hidden in the McDonald hold a secret. Millions of years ago, vibrant plant life blanketed this continent. These Central Australian cabbage palms, throwbacks to a rainforest past, grow only in the Finke River Valley and its tributaries. Just 3,000 remain. These are the only big rocks in town, and the black-flanked rock wallaby deftly navigates their slopes and crevices with the help of non-slip feet and a long tail for balance. If kangaroos are like gazelles, then wallabies are like mountain goats, agile and sure-footed, even with a baby on board. They prefer their drinks on the rocks, getting most of the moisture they need from the plants they eat. Extremely shy, they shun any whiff of civilization, so this remote range suits them. They hide in the cool caves during the heat of the day and come out to feed in the evening and early morning, when they can go about their business undisturbed, except by other rock wallabies. While wallabies are the rock stars of the ranges, zebra finches flock to the water. To avoid predators, they're speed sippers, darting their tongues into the drink up to 20 times per second. Like many desert dwellers, they wait for the rains, gorge on seeds, then breed like crazy. Nearby, a mother black-fronted dotterel watches her baby, who's off to a rocky start. Reunited at last, he has a snack. Then retires to his feather bed. In the foothills, where the land is cracked and dry, one of Australia's tiniest marsupials finds his niche. Smaller than your thumb and dwarfed by a grasshopper, this planigale bobs for food among the crevices like he's looking for coins behind sofa cushions. This puny predator boldly overpowers larger prey, including beetles, centipedes, and this grasshopper caught napping. Bug juice is all he drinks. Away from the rock slopes of the McDonnell Ranges and on to the red dunes of Rainbow Valley, the scene becomes the devil's playground, the realm of the insatiable Moloch horridus. This horrifying 20-centimeter Godzilla towers over his doomed prey, devouring 1,000 ants at a sitting. Besides his pointy hide, Moloch horridus, also known as the thorny devil, has a lightning-fast tongue. Those ants may scatter, but resistance is futile. They're all he craves. The thorny devil will never go hungry. Across the planet, The total weight of ants equals the total weight of humans. Australia alone has 1,300 known ant species. In a place where food's often scarce, some desert dwellers have hit upon a sweet plan. In the honeypot ants' underground nesting chambers, workers deliver gobs of nectar to their colleagues. All those sweets go right to their abs, but that's a good thing. These glittering, grape-sized guts are living pantries for the welfare of the colony. Bees and wasps also store sugary food, but honeypot ants stash it in their own bodies. The bloated, immobile ants depend on their worker nestmates to clean and look after them, but they can't defend them from some Aboriginal people who find them delicious. When times are tough, workers coax their honeypots to cough up some nectar to share with the nest. Worker ants are sterile females, and each pulls her weight to keep the colony running. The ants rely on their antennae to feel, smell, and communicate, so they spend a lot of time preening for the best reception. They dote on the larvae, moving the pupae around the nest to maintain the best temperature and humidity. The dark, silent domain of the honeypot ants seems worlds away from the sun-drenched outback, less than a meter above. Every day gets hotter and drier. A dust bath might keep parasites at bay, but the sun-baked dust is not very cooling. No worries. This doe licks her practically furless forearms, and evaporation does the trick. Up here, things are getting a little tight in the pouch for Mama and her Joey. The Joey's packed in the pouch, but at least the little miss is catching some shade. And the desert doesn't look very inviting. Now 6.5 months old, she'll be on her own 2 feet soon. The large buck might be her father, if he's the dominant male. Or he might be hanging around for a chance to become a father. For now, all the little one cares about is Mom's milk bar. She'll carry her for about another month. And until the Joey's out for good, Mom has no interest in mating. But her pouch will barely get cold before the embryo she's carrying takes up residency and the cycle starts over. When the embryo parks in the pouch, Mom will start the cycle again with a new mate. But times and plants have gotten tough. Mr. and Mrs. Kangaroo's fertility shrivels along with the grasses. They go into survival mode. The new pouch Joey has about an 80% chance of eviction. Flexible family planning makes life livable on the fickle Outback. Where nature devises some clever solutions to the tricky problem of simply staying alive. Australia's steaming tropics rise like a slice of paradise out of the flattest continent on Earth. Worlds away from the parched lands to the south and inland. This is where countless jungle dramas unfold. A giant step back in time to the secret realm of the extraordinary southern cassowary. Tall as a man, but shy as a mouse. He's like a real-life Bigfoot, seldom seen and rarely studied. Despite his colorful face and weird, conspicuous crown, he just wants to blend in, living a solitary life, except when he's raising his chicks. The other rainforest dwellers honor his request for privacy. They have their own lives to worry about. In this land of strange adaptations, the trees shelter what looks like the love child of Winnie the Pooh and Roo. She's a Lumholtz tree kangaroo. Of Australia's 60 kinds of roos, she's one of 2 species that live in the canopy. A little larger than a Jack Russell Terrier, she's built like a ground kangaroo in reverse, with shorter hind legs and longer, stronger forelimbs. The trees provide plenty to eat, so she seldom has reason to leave, spending her days nibbling and napping. She's not graceful, but she can walk backwards, something her hopping cousins can't manage. This awkward doe balances for 2, carrying her little squirrel-like Joey in her pouch. In almost every inch of the dense forest, a silent battle rages. The war that plants wage to capture each ray of sunlight. This strangler fig plays dirty, dropping its seeds in the crotch of another tree. The fig sprouts an aggressive network of aerial roots that surrounds and often crushes its host. Luckily, the Victoria's riflebird can make lively use of a dead stump. This adult male gives the evil eye to a noisy young upstart's messy hunt for grubs. The oblivious teenager keeps banging away. The adult planned to use that stump for a courtship ritual he's been practicing for years. The youngster surrenders the stump and spies on the riflebird Romeo to steal some of his moves. It'll take about 5 years for the juvenile to grow into a sleek, black adult. He'll need all that time to perfect his love dance. The dapper bird belts out a seductive squawk. It sets this female's heart aflutter. He really struts his stuff. The lady's not sure he's the one to sweep her off her perch. Sure, he can dance, but will he be a good father? He gives it all he's got. She's just not that into him. The lush forests in northeast Australia owe their existence to the Great Dividing Range, a more than 3,500-kilometer chain of mountains along the east coast. Winds off the ocean stumble over the range, spilling their moisture and feeding the dense jungle. Mangrove trees filter the rain rushing off the hills back to the Pacific, removing silt and toxins. Here are male cassowary beachcombs, strangely exposed for such a shy guy. Not that the giant, flightless bird has much to fear. With his more than 12-centimeter talons, he can practically disembowel his enemies, including humans, with one swift kick. Or he can turn tail and bolt 48 kilometers per hour and leap 2 meters in the air. Mainly, he'll keep to himself, quietly looking for fruit or insects. But today is a special day. He has a heavy date. The female, at up to 60 kilograms, can outweigh him by about 20 kilos. Cassowaries are no Casanovas. Only in courtship do they tolerate each other. If they hit it off, they'll stay together until she lays her clutch of 3 to 5 eggs. Then she's off to find a new man, leaving baby daddy to raise the young. Not many bird species play it like that, but it helps maximize mama bird's offspring. Beyond the cassowary coast, sediments from the Great Dividing Range settled into the ocean to create nature's largest housing development. The Great Barrier Reef, the largest living structure on Earth. The coral forms a fragile scaffold that supports an astonishing variety of life and an almost equal number of ways to die. Here on the Great Barrier Reef, survival takes strategy. This octopus blends in. Others rely on good looks or flashing colors to confuse predators or scare up a meal. More direct, this little peacock mantis shrimp packs a shell-smashing 80-kilometer-per-hour punch. A master of disguise, the leaf scorpion fish mimics a dead sea plant, waiting for prey to get close enough to gobble up. Down here, danger comes in all sizes and shapes. Sharks and skates don't need to be subtle. Almost 130 species patrol the Great Barrier Reef. Down below, sea anemones can deliver a wicked sting. But clownfish get along by making friends of their anemones. Probably protected from the venom by a layer of mucus, the fish keep their swaying host clean. In northern Australia, parts of the reef reach all the way to the beach. Which is partially flanked by a maze of mangroves. Uninviting as it is, it hides an even better reason to keep out. The saltwater crocodile, or salty, a pet name for nobody's pet. The world's largest reptile can grow up to 7 meters long and weigh over a ton. Don't let the name fool you. Saltwater crocodiles also lurk in freshwater, so think twice before stepping into the intertidal zone. Feral pigs rooting around for aquatic herbs let their stomachs rule their brains. They wander into deep water and can find themselves in deep trouble. Because Salty is craving something tender too. Feral pigs hit the water to pluck the tastiest plants, while Salty joins them to pluck the tastiest pigs. After pigging out, our Salty could skip meals for a year. But don't bet your life on it. Animals prefer not to be eaten, yet many of the plants here count on their fruit being devoured. Large leaves help plants drink in the dappled sunlight beneath the rainforest's dark canopy. Without room to spread, plants need allies to scatter their seeds. The cassowary, now a single dad, is happy to help. The big bird is one of the few animals that can gobble up the poisonous and aptly named cassowary plum without getting sick. Papa Cassowary and his chicks cover over 1 kilometer, looking for food and passing seeds along the way. This chick's eyes are bigger than its beak. A lesson in visual judgment. Until Junior masters it, Dad will pre-chew his food. Besides fruit, they eat snails, bugs, frogs, and lizards. He'll use his knife-like talons for digging around the cluttered forest floor. or for defending his chicks from dogs and feral pigs. They're certainly not threatened by this little guy, busy squirreling away fruit. Practically nothing about the musky rat kangaroo suggests it's a real roo, but it's the smallest, most primitive of the kangaroos. This guinea pig-sized gardener buries his fruit in patches of sunlight so he can retrieve them later. Except sometimes he forgets, and the seeds germinate. Nearby, the brush turkey does his part, stirring up leaf litter and speeding its breakdown into fertile soil. While the turkey and the kangaroo tend their garden, Papa Cassowary takes his chicks down to the stream. Papa will show them all the best eating and drinking spots in his territory, which they're free to use until he kicks them out in about 9 months. Finding water's not a problem here. The mountains of the Great Dividing Range squeeze about 4,500 millimeters of rain per year from the clouds over the coast. Much of it cascades from the mountaintops. The red-browed finch couldn't be happier here. The night shift begins. A striped possum climbs out of his treehouse to grab a bite. It probes its elongated finger into the rotten wood. For bugs and larvae, it's the digit of death. Like a safecracker, the possum might be able to finger his prey by feeling vibrations. But wait, what's that sound? He's not the lone hunter in this dark forest. A long-nosed bandicoot probably got a whiff of the striped possum long before he saw him. Even if the bandicoot didn't have a keen sense of smell, the possum's one malodorous marsupial. But the bandicoot's busy with something else. A big, juicy cicada. Nearby, a Herbert River ringtail possum spies on him. But ringtails favor plants. The same goes for the spectacled flying fox, one of the largest of the bat species. It prefers fruit and flower nectar, and the fruit and flowers are happy to have him. Flowers growing out of the sides of trees invite bats to pollinate them, so everybody wins. While the flying foxes pick flowers, the striped possums struggle to grab some grubs. When their sensitive ET-like fingers fail them, they attack the wood with powerful jaws and saber-like incisors. He's not giving up. Nothing goes to waste out here. The red-legged patamelon, a hair-sized kangaroo, munches a salad of fallen leaves. To his consternation, he's not dining alone tonight. Out of the forest comes a common brush-tail possum, claiming this clearing, as if there's no other place in the whole forest to eat. The patamelon resists the pushy possum. They try to ignore each other. But the larger possum gets his way. Common brush-tail possums usually do. They're the most widespread marsupials in Australia and even live in cities. The red-legged patamelon gets forced to the sidelines. But even the patamelon has an easier night than the striped possum, who finally got his grub. Disregarding everything else, the striped possum stays focused on his meal. A busy night gives way to a busy new day. that finds the mother tree kangaroo waddling through the highland treetops. Her little one's not so little anymore. While she grabs a meal, her Joey has a snack. He's learning which leaves won't make him sick. Lumhold's kangaroos can digest many that are toxic to other mammals. Lumhold's tree kangaroos freeze when threatened, making them hard to spot. Despite their lumpy awkwardness, if cornered, they can leap to the ground from as high as 15 meters. One tree over from the kangaroos, double-eyed fig parrots get figgy with it. Blending in, they give themselves away by the rustling branches and the sticky bits of figs and foliage they send raining down. Today's a big day for Mom and her little Joey. Time to leave the pouch. That might not be such a good idea. For a baby kangaroo, or even a grown-up, 30 meters is a long way to fall. But that's not the worst of it. Whatever you do, don't look down. Mama's taken off the training wheels. The Joey still needs a little nip of milk before continuing. Off he goes on his first solo. He's a natural. As the rainforest shrank, Lumhold's tree kangaroos retreated from lowland forests to the mountains above 300 meters. He's done for today and goes back to the security of Mom's pouch. Safely stowed, baby and mother climb down the tree, fireman style. Only not quite so fast. Finally, on the ground, they find themselves in a construction zone. And here is the architect, the golden bowerbird. The smallest species of bowerbird must have a Napoleon complex because he builds the largest shelters, called bowers. The female scrutinizes every move as he painstakingly weaves and decorates his love shack. He does it all. To attract her. If she likes his work, she'll mate with him. But first, he needs a snack. Can he excite a lady's passion for architecture? The obsessive master builder spots a design flaw. A leaf out of place. But he still has the female on the hook. The male bowerbird's advances aren't exactly charming, but they work. She's not his first seduction of the season, and she won't be the last he lures to his Playboy mansion. Life is not so swinging for this hectic little Antechinus. The mouse-like marsupial male lives only long enough to breed once, and that's if he's lucky. But he's not the one in danger right now. The jungle carpet python might hanker for a little kangaroo. The joey practices climbing while his mom is nearby making sure the python has moved on. He's too busy trying to keep his balance to worry about other potential problems. At least for the time being, the little adventurer's home is secure. Much of the tree kangaroo's habitat is a battleground for developers. Since European settlement, development has cleared 3/4 of Australia's rainforests. These northern forests that look so endless are actually ringed by huge banana and sugarcane plantations. But there's still a refuge here. The cassowary chicks have grown gangly and strong, almost ready to explore the forest on their own. No one knows how many of these reclusive birds live out here, but probably about 2,000 adults. The function of their bizarre helmet, called a casque, is a topic of debate. It grows throughout their lives and might help the bird push through thick jungle growth or display age and dominance. Sometimes it's used to unearth tasty morsels under the leaf litter. The weirdly ornamented cassowary and the strange pouched creatures of Australia's Great Dividing Range suggest that nature has a sense of humor. But here, just like everywhere else, nature is doing what it does best, making the most of every situation. Adapt or die. That's the first rule of survival. And the shingleback lizard uses its head. Or is that his tail? Both ends look the same, confounding predators. That tricky tail also stores fat for the winter and snaps off for a fast escape. But there's no escaping the intense spring sun. The 40-centimeter lizard hightails it into the shade. And into the lair of a much bigger beast. A southern hairy-nosed wombat caught napping. At 4 years old, she weighs about as much as an 8-year-old child. Lucky for the lizard, she doesn't eat meat and retreats to start her housework. A face full of renovation debris persuades the intruder to find shade someplace else. After sweeping the front porch, she turns the topsoil. She can't sweat, so perhaps this helps keep her comfortable. That small luxury won't last. Here comes summer, when the living ain't easy for her and her burrow mates. This female has a joey from last year. He's starting to sample the local cuisine, but still prefers mother's milk. Soon, he'll grow brave enough to explore on his own. This adult male is another neighbor, sporting a fine set of tools for tunneling. The burrow is like a wombat flophouse, where up to 10 wombats might crash for the night. In the heat of the day, they strive to do nothing at all, until supper time. The female primps before dinner. Sometimes the soil can dye her fur. During springtime salad days, she munches a path as clean as a lawnmower. She'll amble at less than 1/10 of a kilometer per hour, half as fast as some tortoises. Now's the time to pack on pounds for the hard months to come, but she has a more immediate problem. A dingo picks up her scent. He's not alone. The wild dogs, 13 kilos of killer instinct wrapped in muscle, are Australia's largest land predators. They bolt at 65 kilometers an hour. The wobbly wombat needs a miracle, or a luckless kangaroo. Any game is fair game to the merciless dingoes. Dingoes can gulp down 7% of their body weight every day, though each has to wait his turn. Though they're probably the most feared, dingoes aren't the biggest threat facing our wombat. Drought and high temperature will test her and her family as spring blazes into summer. Southern Australia's brutal climate is shaped by the geography that surrounds it. Stretching from southern South Australia and running 400 kilometers north, the Flinders Ranges thrust 800-million-year-old rock into the sky, today peaking at more than 1 kilometer. The barrier, as long as the Grand Canyon, hijacks the coastal range and turns the surrounding land into a caustic mineral moonscape. To the west, the Indian Ocean hammers cliffs that shield the vast deserts beyond. The Pinnacle Deserts features come and go like a mirage. Wind-blown sand formed massive dunes that gradually turned to stone. Erosion has exposed the mysterious towers, perhaps formed by the movement of water and minerals around plant roots. Aboriginal people left artifacts at the pillars 6,000 years ago, but nothing since, suggesting that the dunes swallowed the stones again. They've reappeared only in the last few hundred years. Some hardy Aussies have turned the 5-meter towers into high-rise homes. Though their name is Australian for idiot, koalas brilliantly adapt to survive on tiny seeds they collect with their high-precision beaks. They can slake their thirst with salty water, and their concentrated pee makes the most of every drop. Koalas mate for life. Picking sand from nooks and crannies strengthens their bond. They get minerals from the limestone pillars, which make great emery boards to keep their ever-growing bills seed-crackingly sharp. And they have a knack for finding soft nesting materials in the rocky desert. There, that should do it. Better check with the missus. She gives it the once-over with her distinctive pink eyes. A nest fit for an idiot. Far below the koala's love nest, a large and lethal army practices maneuvers and even chemical warfare. These 2.5-centimeter warriors are the ants that time forgot. Bulldog ants, throwbacks from 100 million years ago. Their giant jaws mean business, but they're real troubles behind them. When ants trailed off from their wasp-like ancestors, the bulldogs kept their tail stingers and their venom. They don't use chemical signals to recruit assistance from their nestmates. Instead, they have sharp vision, Trespassers, beware. A bulldog ant can topple much larger enemies, including allergic humans. Over 20 years, 6 people have died from ant stings. Most died within 20 minutes. The sun-bleached desolation of the West Coast seems unfair compared to the glamorous East Side. The eucalyptus forests of eastern Australia. The residents here live colorful lives. This dashing fellow, a superb fairy wren, helps his mate feed their hatchlings. Dad has all the looks in this family, because Mom is camouflaged for sitting on the nest, unnoticed. That doesn't mean she leads a dull life. Though the wrens bond till death do them part, both enjoy some action on the side. Australia's favorite birds are also the most promiscuous. They do it for the children. One of the female's 3 young lovers, a boy toy just sprouting adult plumage, brings food for the family. After all, these kids might be his. Mom's no fool. She knows that multiple doting baby daddies give her chicks the best chance for survival. And can protect them from this baby-snatching boogeyman. The crow-sized kookaburra will eat just about any animal it can stuff down its beak. The wrens distract him with a rodent run, mimicking a frantic mouse to lure the raider away from the nest. But this time, a cricket does the trick. So the wren can relax. Just a few meters away, the kookaburra's violent reign of terror goes unnoticed. This coarse-haired or common wombat snoozes in her den beneath the forest. But not for long. Her 6-month-old Joey is growing restless. Mom's rear-facing pouch keeps excavation dirt out of the nursery. Only a few other marsupials share that setup. The topsy-turvy anatomy means it's hard for mom and baby to see each other's faces. At 1 kilo, the baby already carries all the tools of the wombat trade: chisel-shaped incisors, shovel-like claws, and a thick coat. Mom serves milk on tap for up to 15 months until he's on his own. As summer sweeps across Australia, trouble follows. The tree-covered mountains guzzle most of the water before it reaches the plains. A 1,000 kilometers from the den of the coarse-nosed wombats, their hairy-nosed cousins face the same tests. The mercury hits 26 before dropping at night to a comfortable 18 degrees Celsius. Time for wombats to stretch their stubby legs. As usual, the male is sniffing around, looking for wombat love. The female digs, but doesn't dig him. It helps that she's ambidextrous. She can shift a ton of soil in half an hour if she really puts her back into it. It may be the stronger, older animals that create burrows and then choose whether to allow younger individuals to share them. A wombat commune can have over 100 meters of tunnels. This underground estate has been used for decades, thanks to generations of meticulous care. As the plants wither, they'll have to waddle further for their supper. Wombats can't afford to be optimists. Summer may bring deadly drought. Pigging out now is the best life insurance. They're still gorging themselves when day breaks. At least, the lucky ones are. Wombats aren't the only ones cutting trails through the bush. And evolution hasn't prepared them for this. Wombats don't see well, and this dark-nosed male paid the ultimate price for nighttime foraging. The female a little more streetwise, turns back. But for some, tragedy smells like dinner. Australia has no vultures, so ravens and wedge-tailed eagles compete for the cleanup job. There's plenty to go around, but they don't see it that way. As the young eagle chows down, the ravens rave, and the ruckus only broadcasts their secret. The cocky young eagle won't surrender his seat to the adult. A dingo is never too proud to pass up a free meal. You'd better pay attention, or he'll be the next course. Traffic kills thousands of animals every year. After an eventful night, the female wombat makes it safely back to the comfort of her den, just like the estimated 50 to 100,000 other wombats of South Australia. The burrow's air conditioning is set at a fairly constant 26 degrees Celsius, even as the desert soars to 45 C. The Great Flinders Ranges to the east trap moisture in their rocky gorges. Wombats steer clear, leaving these steep, jagged rocks to a different hill-hugging marsupial. This rare yellow-footed rock wallaby likes to live on the edge, thanks to its rubbery, sneaker-like feet. Hands come in handy too. Hunted for fur and forced out by livestock, fewer than 10,000 remain. Even a mother with a pouch full of joey masters the mountains. She sports the more typical front-loading baby carrier. They lick their forearms and allow the saliva to evaporate, helping them to beat the heat. If it's getting hot for rock wallabies up here, it's worse for the residents of the searing plains below, who seek shelter wherever they can. The pygmy blue-tongued skink keeps such a low profile. For more than a century, it was thought extinct. It makes itself scarce by hiding in spider burrows, springing out only to snatch a meal. Well, that's the theory. Just 5,000 or so skinks exist, making them one of Australia's rarest reptiles. It's a pity, because the skink does its part for pest control. Nabbing locusts and grasshoppers that can devastate plants. Not everyone can wait for dinner to deliver itself at the doorstep. As vegetation retreats, hairy-nosed wombats get forced into the daylight to find food. The outback is now at its fiercest. Temperatures reach a record-shattering 50 degrees Celsius. Life here used to be much easier for wombats, even in the steaming cauldron of summer. Then came the aliens. European settlers brought new plants and animals that made themselves right at home, including an invasion of killer bunnies. Death never looked so cute. The rabbit, an illegal immigrant, is eating Australia's wombats out of house and home. While a wombat struggles to raise one joey every 2 years, a rabbit can pop out more than 25 bunnies a year. A handful of rabbits bolted into the outback less than 200 years ago. Today, there are millions. Fast and hungry rabbits beat the wombats to the nutritious native grasses. Leaving the wombats with poor quality invasive plants, some of them downright toxic. The wombat's mortal enemy, it seems, may not be dingoes or traffic. It might be junk food. Overgrazing has turned the sun-scorched landscape into a dust bowl. Some outback animals cope better than others. The dingo was brought here from Asia by Aboriginal people about 3,500 years ago, but this one seems to struggle in the heat. This one catches a break. Not the cows, but the water. Wells dug for livestock give the wildlife a second chance. Once the dingo's thirst is slaked, his stomach starts to rumble. He's in no state to be choosy. These tiny oases draw an invasion. Thousands of little corellas, lively cockatoos that don't like to drink alone. All those eyes make it tough for the dingo to hunt unnoticed. Cockatoo Cocktail Hour ends with a trip to the grass seed buffet. The bewildered dingo will have to dine elsewhere. Like the dingo, this hairy-nosed wombat suffers from the relentless summer. The joey's diet of toxic, invasive plants has probably damaged his liver. Looking sunburned and too weak to find shade. Rain clouds form, a promise of relief to the survivors of the drought. The southern plains have betrayed the wombats. Through rising temperatures, changing vegetation, and an alien invasion. When the clouds finally break, it's too little, too late. What the plains really need is a life-saving storm. Wombats depend on the rain, but it seems they don't like being caught in it. Australian pelicans welcome it with open wings. When storm clouds form, they get their flying orders and follow the rains to find fresh opportunities. The shifting sand builds a mini mountain range that shields inland marshes from punishing ocean weather. These limestone towers, the 12 apostles, watch over the southern shore. The pelicans head to the Coorong, a giant lagoon where the Murray River spills into the Indian Ocean. Fresh and salt water mingle, stirring up a nutritious soup that attracts fish and fish eaters. Pelicans, among the largest of flying birds, compensate with their 2.5-meter wingspan. Their webbed feet work like wakeboards come landing time. He has an enormous lunch bill. Up to 47 centimeters, it's the longest of any bird. It supports an expandable pouch for scooping prey. A flotilla of pelicans stirs up plenty of trouble for hapless fish. Each bird can down 9 kilos of food per day, mainly fish, but they won't turn their noses up at frogs, lizards, and even other birds. Anything they can swallow whole. In a flash, the pouch can scoop up 13 liters of water and anything caught within. Once they've had their fill, the pelicans chill out on the beach. The silver gulls and pied cormorants clear space for the big beak brigade. Grooming keeps their feathers well-oiled and waterproof. They work their huge bills to tweeze out dirt and re-zip ruffled feathers. Romance blooms for this pelican pair, who flaunt their commitment by flushing their pouches with purple and yellow, rippling them for the rest of the flock to admire. All along the Murray River, inhabitants get ready for bed. Corellas squabble over who gets the top bunk. As the day shift punches out, the late crew reports for duty. The barking gecko's enormous eyes magnify the moonlight for nighttime hunting. It trolls for insects and spiders in the leaf litter, but doesn't stress if it strikes out. It can survive on the fat stored in its chunky tail. Time to get going. The common brush-tailed possum eats leaves, flowers, insects, even geckos if the opportunity arises. The mother wombat stirs, ready to forage. But she'd better hold off. There's a tiger outside. When night falls, Mother Wombat steps out, and so does the tiger quoll, a tiny tyrant. The relentless, fox-sized quoll is the longest predatory marsupial. Darkness is its only friend. He's not finicky about what he eats, including a young joey, until Big Mama Wombat scares him off. He'll patrol up to 5 square kilometers for a bite to eat. But now, he's trailing a young potaroo, tracking him like a bloodhound. Potaroos are smaller than rabbits. This one's snack size and inexperienced. Kilo for kilo, he has a stronger bite than a lion. Bad news for Mrs. Quoll, who he can bite viciously during their 8-hour mating marathon. The danger's past. The wombats relax, for now. The day has finally come for the joey to climb out of the pouch. Mom will grant him access for the next 8 months while he's weaned. He's having second thoughts. Mom tries tough love. For the first time, mother and baby can sleep face to face. The desert is putting on a new face, too. After days of downpour, it springs to life, ending summer's hardship. The changing season excites the fidgety wombats. Summer's survivors explore in the cool of the evening. The commune's black-nosed male was lost to the road, and the yearling joey was a casualty of competition. But the young female carries the commune's future, her firstborn. A jelly bean-sized pup climbed into Mama's pouch unassisted, his home for the next 6 months. He'll grow from about the weight of a paperclip to around 30 kilos. And if he survives all the challenges the southern Australian outback throws at him, he'll be watching the sunrise 15 years from now. In the cough-drop-scented eucalyptus forests of eastern Australia, a throaty chorus of amorous koalas announces the arrival of summer. This guy won't settle for a hug. To make his point, he uses a specialized set of vocal cords that projects his mating call. The strength of his roar signals his size. Even though he's only about as big as a large raccoon, his deep bellow rivals an elephant's. It woos the females and freaks out rivals. Sure, he looks cuddly, but during the annual breeding season, he turns into an aggressive, sexy beast. Viewer discretion advised. When the lady rebuffs him, he takes his talents elsewhere. Only about a third of male koalas get lucky. And his love song doesn't win any hearts. He does, however, attract a rival. With long claws and sharp teeth, this is no teddy bear's picnic. They'll settle their differences on the field of honor. When the smaller male backs down, the victor resumes his quest. Hurrying back into the tree, where he's safe from dingoes and other predators. He rarely leaves the canopy at all, spending up to 20 hours a day asleep and most of his waking time eating. The only thing to up his activity levels is mating season. This time, he doesn't even get to first base. Eventually, he has his way. And she scrambles up to the thinnest branches, where he and his weight can't follow. She has plenty of places to hide. Most of the 900 or so species of eucalyptus are unique to Australia, from small bushes to 30-story giants. They are the largest flowering plants on Earth. In their shadow, a master singer rehearses. The superb lyrebird. He shamelessly rips off everyone else's calls, or any sounds he hears, including human speech and chainsaws. Mating season means concert time. He'll spend half the day belting out medleys of original and sampled sounds. His act, a little R2-D2, a little Lady Gaga, is designed to attract adoring females. The hen's more practical plumage won't draw attention to her nest. The cock clears the stage to really strut his stuff. He's pheasant-sized, one of the world's largest songbirds. To show off his huge plumes, he constructs a 90-centimeter stage. From home building to chick rearing, Mama's on her own, so she gets to say, "Who's your daddy?" With the lyrebird, it's the male who wears the bridal veil. It's like an avian idol, and she is one tough judge. Only the most talented will make the cut. He'd better up his game before the final vote. The lush rainforests of eastern Australia lie beneath the continent's tallest peaks, the mountains of the Great Dividing Range, where its peaks have been dubbed the Australian Alps. They reach more than 1.5 kilometers high. The hills are alive, even at the tippy top, where the climate's too harsh for most trees. For high-altitude specialists, like the mountain-spotted grasshopper, a little sun goes a long way. In a small area at the top of the Australian Dividing Range, one of the world's rarest frogs searches for a nest site. His competition? Maybe 4 other fellas. The only male southern corroboree frog's thought left in the wild. He's not entirely helpless. If his black and yellow warning stripes don't scare off predators, his bitter and toxic skin might. But his biggest enemy is a fungal infection that's knocked the frog's numbers down to as few as 50. A breeding and resettlement program offers some hope. By looking for a good nest site, this fella might help turn things around. As darkness washes over the Alps, out comes one of Australia's best-kept secrets. The mountain pygmy possum, known only from fossils, was believed extinct until a live one poked its head out in 1966. It's the only Australian mammal to live exclusively in the snow zone. The entire population, fewer than 3,000 of these mini marsupials, inhabit less than 10 square kilometers. To survive the alpine winter, they double their weight now. In a few months, they'll need to sleep out the cold. His body temperature may drop from 36 Celsius to just above freezing for as long as 7 months. This is not the Australia most of us think of. Even the widespread eucalyptus is challenged up here. Only one species, the snow gum, can brave these conditions. The adolescent wombat could use a set of snowshoes. With her thick hide, she's one of the few marsupials to winter on the slopes. Waddling between the patches of plants for a nibble in the late afternoon sun, she eats grasses, sedges, moss, and shrubs, but has a low metabolism, so can get by on poor grazing. Then she heads back to the burrow for a nap before the temperature drops. This mob of eastern gray kangaroo lives lower but leaps higher, finding easy grazing below the snow line. Though even at 18 months old, this joey can supplement the grazing with a drink of milk. Group living makes it easier to spot predators. Most of the time. The tiger snake, one of the most lethal snakes on Earth, can kill a 2-meter kangaroo. Its blood and nerve-destroying venom was once the top cause of human snakebite death in Australia. He strikes a pose. The roos play it cool. Just the occasional glance makes sure he's not coming closer. The snake makes its move. Kangaroos are too big anyway. The dividing range separates Australia's fertile east coast from its barren core. It shapes the weather and creates some evolutionary extremes. Besides Australia's tallest peaks and longest river, the range shelters the continent's strangest creature. So weird, even by Australian standards, that people thought it was a hoax. With the bill of a duck, the tail of a beaver, the pelt of an otter, and poison-tipped feet, it could only be a duck-billed platypus. This male seems constantly on the go. Between gulps of air, he submerges for up to 10 minutes, closing folds of skin over his eyes and ears and sealing his rubbery nostrils to feed on shrimps and insect larvae. He hunts like a shark, using electroreceptors on his bill to home in on the faint electrical pulse of his live prey. How he navigates around rocks with his eyes closed is anyone's guess. Weirder still, the platypus is one of only 2 types of egg-laying mammals, or monotremes. When the first specimen was brought to Europe, skeptics thought it was parts of different animals glued together. A swimming session might last for 10 hours, though he usually prefers to hunt at night. He'll use venomous spurs on the insides of his back legs. The venom's powerful enough to lay up a human for weeks. He lounges on the bank, oblivious to the menacing moves of a master meat-eater. When the laughing kookaburra goes on the hunt, it's no laughing matter. The crow-sized kookaburra prefers to hunt on land, but a meal's a meal. She might have met her match with this freshwater crayfish, or yabby. Disarmed and delicious. Back in koala forest, the end of mating season means this guy can get back to what's important. So-called koala bears aren't bears at all, but marsupials, like kangaroos. While some bears eat everything from moss to moose, the koala's a eucalyptarian, eating just 40 of about 900 species of eucalyptus plants. The food's terrible, but at least the portions are big. Eucalyptus leaves aren't very nutritious and toxic enough to kill most other animals. To deal with it, his molars grind the leaves to a pulp. The liver detoxifies it before a pouch in his intestines squeezes out the last bit of goodness. The leaves also provide most of the water he needs. His clown nose has the serious job of helping him avoid older, more toxic leaves. He'll eat about 2 shopping bags stuffed full of eucalyptus every day. Once he's stripped away all the good leaves, it's time to change trees. He's at his most vulnerable on the ground, but there's a perk, if you can call it that. Mud munching provides the minerals he can't get from the eucalyptus leaves. He's stronger and more agile than he looks, with the koala equivalent of 2 grasping thumbs per front paw. Now exhausted, he's ready for bed. He grooms his fur with his teeth, but his 2 fused toes also make a good comb, ideal for removing ticks. Nearby, the pregnant female rests too. From conception to birth is only 35 days. They may sleep 20 hours a day. That's what comes of living on junk food. Lounging about not only saves energy, but gives their bodies a chance to digest that tricky eucalyptus. They don't sleep alone. When a colony of bats settles in, it looks like a tree full of broken umbrellas. These gray-headed flying foxes are yet another peculiar mammal to colonize Australia. Aside from dingoes, here all long-term land mammals either have wings, pouches, or lay eggs. A foxy lady bears a single pup each year, which she carries constantly for the first few weeks, even in flight. At dusk, the flying foxes fly up to 50 kilometers to feast on the nectar and pollen of flowering eucalyptus. And when darkness fills the forest, they aren't alone. A ninja strike. It's amazing the lengths this tiny possum will go for a sweet treat. With one leap, the sugar glider can coast across half a football field. He's not the only one with a sweet tooth. They come in all sizes to get their licks in. The largest flying mammal crowds out one of the world's smallest gliding ones. The feathertail, or pygmy glider, is only about the length of a piece of chewing gum. But much tastier to mainland Australia's largest living native predator, something that keeps all the sugar addicts on their toes, the tiger quoll. They can't buy him off with candy. The quoll, about the size of a house cat, can kill a small wallaby. This one brazenly invites himself to dinner, a breach of quoll etiquette. But she doesn't kick him out. Female quolls never get along and tolerate males only at breeding time. As top predators, they keep the forest healthy by culling sick and weak animals. With the second strongest bite for body size, it's good to keep the peace. The quoll can outbite a lion. This female might be up for making babies, but she's not okay with his greed. High above, a squirrel-sized yellow-bellied glider taps the sap of a eucalyptus tree. The yellow-bellied is the biggest of the gliders. The male skillfully carves a V shape into the bark to encourage the sap to flow. Once the bar is open, the neighbors stop in for a drink. Pygmy and sugar gliders are quick to exploit the work of the yellow-bellied's bigger jaws. A tree with several sap leaks can satisfy generations of gliders for decades. Just not all at once. It seems size pulls rank. The sugar glider is going to have to wait his turn. For this little fella, it could be a long night. When the sun comes up and the gliders drift away, a new clientele finds the sweet spots. Birds such as honeyeaters have long curved bills to probe the bark. Butterflies uncurl their long tongues to feed. And the rainbow lorikeet combines its powerful bark-splitting beak with a prehensile feather-shaped tongue to lap up the juices. But life in the eucalypt forest isn't all sweetness and sap. Australia has more than its share of lethal predators. This deadly trap is about to spring. It looks like a succulent worm. It's really a lure. The common death adder, so patient, knows sooner or later something will bite. He's got the fastest fangs in Australia. His neurotoxins can paralyze. Without antivenom, a grown man has only a 50% chance of survival. The gecko never saw it coming. As a baby, or puggle, this echidna might have been a target, but now the spiny fella makes a rather prickly target. Today, he's on a mission to nail 200 grams of termites, larvae, and eggs in 10 minutes. He's not called tachyglossus or quick tongue for nothing. Part porcupine, part anteater, he rips into tough termite mounds to probe with his stiff 8-centimeter snout. Aside from the platypus, echidnas are the world's only egg-laying mammals. And, like his platypus cousin, he senses the electrical pulse of his prey. He has no appetite for conflict. If danger looms, he'll curl up like a spiky basketball or dig a hole and hide. Some say he can dig as fast as a human with a shovel. That sticky 18-centimeter tongue stretches half the length of his body and can even do a U-turn to probe the insect's tunnels. No need for teeth. He mashes his meals against the roof of his mouth. The huge amount of dirt he sucks probably helps to grind his food. While the echidna likes to get his feet dirty digging in the mud, the kangaroo's smaller cousins, the Mariba rock wallabies, prefer to keep their feet on firm ground. Like the kangaroo mob, they find safety in numbers. Until temperatures and hormones start to rise. With the skill of kung fu masters, rock wallabies fight over food and territory. A wallaby is no kangaroo wannabe. Shorter legs and pear-shaped bodies make them ideally suited for life here on the rocks. In Australia, kangaroos are common, like deer in North America. But here, most of the 16 species of wallabies are threatened. Below their rocky home, vast eucalyptus forests form the Australian bush. Dropping off at the dramatic face of the Blue Mountains, and stretching far beyond. Wild and inaccessible. Half the birds and 80% of all plants and mammals here live nowhere else, including a little bird with OCD. The satin bowerbird sorts through his jewelry collection, hoping his bling will attract a mate. Day in, day out, the bird builds his love nest. The devil's in the detail. Only perfection will win her heart. Construction complete, he paints the interior with a mixture of charcoal, crushed bark and leaves, and spit. Good taste never goes out of style. At last, it's ready. He can turn on his charm, but he's not fooling anyone. She knows he'll leave her right after they mate, so she's making him work hard for it now. She wavers, not sure this architect is Frank Lloyd Wright for her. Then, foul play. An Australian brush turkey checks in to see if the decorations are edible. He can cope with turkey troubles, but the moment he heads off for a snack, a rival pounces and starts vandalizing the bower. For bowerbirds, success isn't enough. Others must fail. Destroying a rival's love nest is a blatant act of emasculation. Undaunted, our hero rebuilds. The bower's strictly a showcase, a phallic symbol designed to impress the ladies. It has nothing to do with nesting or breeding. A well-built bower can last for decades with a little sprucing up. The builder might return to it for 15 years or more. It's a fine art. Some kinds of bowerbirds even arrange their collected objects as widening paths using an optical illusion to make the bowers look bigger. And when looking for colorful decorations, they can adapt, making use of the occasional visiting human. The two-legged trespassers leave treasure. But treasure breeds greed. A cousin, the regent bowerbird, pulls a heist. Luckily, there's plenty to go around. He gives it another shot. She continues her comparison shopping. To impress her, he whips out his favorite possession. Time for a seductive spoon dance. She's not feeling it. Back to the drawing board. Over in the eucalyptus forest, there's a baby boom. Mama koala has only one joey a year and invests all limited energy to keep him alive. Dad's no longer in the picture. At birth, the joey looked like a pink jelly bean. Now 9 months old, he's survived winter and left Mom's pouch forever. If he's lucky, this young male will live about 20 years if he can avoid attacks by wild dogs, collisions with cars, and the destruction of his forest home. But even if he manages to stay safely tucked in his tree, he's not out of harm's reach. Koalas are suffering outbreaks of chlamydia, a sexually transmitted disease that causes infertility and death. But for now, he and his mother are doing well. Over the next few months, Mom will teach him which leaves to avoid and how to eat dirt. Next year, when it's time for Mom to mate again, the Joey will be on his own. Or, more likely, sitting in the crotch of a eucalyptus nearby, munching away. It's what koalas do best, and that's not very much at all.
Australia, a continent beyond imagination. Australia is my continent, I'd say. Filming took a total of 3 years. I could hardly believe my eyes the first time I saw kangaroos. It's a completely different world. Four filmmakers set out to capture the magnitude of the whole of Australia. To accomplish their task, they spent 620 days in the field and drove more than 100,000 kilometers. Within 3 years, they should return with pictures never seen before. Australia has always been a kind of dream come true when I'm here. When attempting to create a film looking at the entire continent, we were facing a very, very big challenge because the distances are simply gigantic. This is certainly a challenge, but one that we were happy to face in our attempt to somehow get the best footage possible. Simply having the opportunity to go down under was a highlight for me. The animals down under are completely different. Even if I used all of my imagination and all of my fantasies, I would never be able to think up such a thing. You can't make a film about Australia without showing kangaroos. The red kangaroo is the largest living kangaroo in Australia, and therefore we also wanted to show it. Our problem was that kangaroos have such an unbelievably long flight distance, and there's virtually no cover, so it was actually very difficult to get close to the animals. They often have flight distances covering several hundred meters. You therefore have to keep searching and observing until you find individual animals that allow it, that are a bit more friendly for whatever reason. We therefore traveled pretty deep into the desert and looked for locations in which these kangaroos can actually still be found in relatively large numbers. Before we traveled there, we also had to draw up a very precise shopping list in order to ensure that we didn't forget anything, because the next shop was 380 kilometers away. We do have an SUV that can drive off-road in the Outback, but if you're really unlucky, the bed of the creek is sometimes just as wide as the car is long. So we thought, we'll just quickly drive through it. After all, it's dry. There's not even any water in it or mud. No problem at all. The riverbed was small and insignificant. At least we thought it was insignificant, but it was so narrow. We got stuck at the front and stuck at the back, and the wheels were free in the middle. We had to dig the car back out before we could do anything else. The lengths people will go to film red kangaroos, I don't want to have to dig everything up there because it's not necessary. Getting ourselves out of that mess was a pretty tough task. It was unnecessary because I reckon if we'd just driven 3 meters or more to the left or right, it wouldn't have happened. We were annoyed. We were really infuriated that this had happened. It actually ruined the entire day. Yet another fruitless day like so many times before. It's yet another reason for the Mystic Road, because Thoralf drove us into it and I had to dig us out. You do it once and then you see that it's hard, sweaty and annoying work. And then once you've done it, that's enough to last a lifetime. So one more spadeful and then we're nearly done. Thoralf, you can start the car back up in a second. Fortunately, we were lucky enough to find a female who had been raised by hand. That kangaroo just came hopping out of the bush. The scientist who was advising us said, "Hang on a second, I know that kangaroo. I haven't seen it for 2 years." She said we should go and take a look. And then we were actually able to approach the kangaroo and she was able to touch it and pet it. And we said, yeah, that's great. And then she said, okay, I'll take a look and see whether there's a joey in her pouch. And then she opened the pouch and took a look inside and said, oh yes, there's one in there. We said, what do you mean, you can look inside the pouch? Yes, she said, with this animal I can. Could you maybe put the camera in the pouch and let the camera take a look then? And she said, yeah, let's give it a try. And she told me, you feed it up here and I'll carefully slide the camera in and we'll see if it works. And we were actually able to take a peek inside the pouch whilst the female kangaroo was standing there. I was fascinated by the fact that it worked. It was really great. After all, the kangaroo has to allow it. The pouch consists of a muscular ring that they can close really tightly. And if the kangaroo doesn't want you to look inside, then you won't be able to look inside because it will simply close the ring. It was only because she was relaxed that we were, in fact, able to carefully open the pouch. Of course, I've never touched a kangaroo before, or fed one or anything like that. It was a special experience for me. Ow, my finger! Australia really is a very hot place. We filmed in the desert in summer, for example, near Alice Springs, and the temperatures were up in the 40s. In such heat, you somehow can't really do much at all. It pretty much paralyzes you to a large extent. You just drag yourself all over the place and try to somehow complete easy tasks. You can maybe sit behind the camera and wait, but you can't do much more. When it's so hot, you obviously have to drink absolutely loads. And you naturally have to make sure that you always have some spare water with you to last at least 2 days, especially when you're traveling by car. You see, getting stuck in the Outback can be a life-threatening situation, even if it's just because of a flat tire. Flat tires are actually an everyday occurrence. The roads in Australia are very poor. The stones are sometimes very, very sharp-edged and cut into your tires, long cuts. And once that happens, the tires are nothing but junk. You feel very secure in the car. The cars there normally have air conditioning, so you don't actually realize it's hot. But if you get stuck out there, then you can really only survive for just a few hours. Getting stuck in the Outback, in the actual desert in high temperatures, is most definitely more dangerous than all of the poisonous snakes and crocodiles put together. And it's also a risk that kills people every year in Australia. I'm sure everyone can imagine that such a situation can be life-threatening, above all when nobody drives by. You can travel many thousand kilometers in every direction, and once you've reached the middle, only then do you realize just how crazily huge and empty the country really is. I already told you, you can't do that with that thing. Oh my words, that's heavy. The angle here is rubbish. Put the rock in. I need to use it differently. Changing tires? I'm great at it. Very quick. Very easy. Good. It was always a big dream of mine to film scenes like this phenomenon, masses of pterygosaurs. But we didn't really dare to dream of it because these appearances are extremely rare and completely unpredictable. We spent an unbelievably long time traveling through the Outback looking for these flocks. We'd heard that they can be found somewhere, but nobody knew exactly where, and then we found them by chance. This gathering only happens for half an hour every day. It's very short, and then they split up again. They just come there to drink. We happened to be in this location by chance very early in the morning, and so just happened to see it. We were, of course, extremely pleased to be so lucky. I was really fascinated by how they were so coordinated and the shapes that they formed in the sky. You actually can't tear your eyes away from it. It's an absolute cauldron here. I've never experienced anything like it before. Unbelievable. They're flying around everywhere. It's just like a Hitchcock film. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have no idea how many there are. I can't count that high. There are unbelievable numbers of birds here. We're so lucky. We've spent ages looking for them, and I've never seen such a large flock before. I think only a few people actually know that budgies normally fly through the land here in such giant flocks rather than sitting in a cramped cage. Keeping these birds in cages is, of course, not good for them. Sitting there alone in their cages, I get sad when I see things like that. I personally would never keep a bird in a cage. I think everyone needs to make their own decision as to whether they can account for keeping such birds in a cage. They can look at the images of these budgies and will then have to decide whether they think that these birds really belong in a cage. They're all trying to get to the water. You can see that there is an unbelievable sense of urgency. There's not enough space for them all by far, which leads to dramatic situations in which they land on each other, and some birds drown others. Predators then swoop down and try to hunt down their prey. The question is, what should I focus on? Should I focus on the hawk? Missed it. Of course it's frustrating when you miss a scene, but it is very difficult because you are so close to the action and have to follow it as it develops. But when they suddenly swoop away, their movements are extremely difficult to follow with your arm or hand-eye coordination. When the scene is over, we both actually look up from the viewfinder and look at each other, and when doing so, you either see a smiling face or you see a face that makes The falcon is hunting again now. It's hard to keep track of it. The hunt is the big thing. If you can get it, you're even happier, especially when it involved a very difficult process. The problem with honeypot ants is that they live roost and nest underground, and that in principle you can't get underground with a camera. We spent a long time deliberating how we could actually film these creatures, and then came up with the idea that we should build an artificial ant cave. This is why we worked in cooperation with Aborigines, who have used these honeypot ants as a source of food. We therefore asked the Aborigines if they could find some for us without eating them, and they said yes, no problem at all, as long as we're allowed to eat them afterwards. And so the deal was done. We then had help from a person from Alice Springs who is married to an Aboriginal woman. We then created our construction from cement and earth and filmed it in their home. We took the ants and literally hung them all in there. These honeypot ants can't move at all anymore, but we actually took individual ants with a spoon and hung them from the roof of a nest. The children from the neighborhood came and asked us, "Have you finished filming yet? We would like to eat our honeypot ants. They won't get any better if you spend so long playing around with them. Can we have a nibble now?" So I said, they can have one, but then needed to go. I was actually surprised that it worked so well, that the ants really did act like they do in nature, that the workers looked after the actual honeypot ants, that they cared for them like they were underground. I'm exceptionally pleased with these images because they depict such a fascinating world that you normally don't get to see. Australia is a continent that makes you very aware of your life. We did, of course, already know that Australia is full of poisonous animals. You need to watch out a bit, and if you sleep in a tent like we did, you should quickly shine a light through it in the evening. You have to constantly be careful not to get close to them. They are always around, and you need to be a bit cautious, for example by really looking exactly where you are putting your hands when searching for firewood. After all, there might be something hidden there in the pile of wood. It's basically dangerous if you don't know that these animals are there. You therefore always need to be a bit careful. I somehow have a sixth sense for snakes. I can tell if they are around. I can see them. We did film very poisonous snakes, such as the eastern brown snake, the second most venomous snake on Earth, and the cause of very large numbers of accidents in Australia. If it's somehow 2 meters away from me, I don't need to be worried. We actually have difficulties finding snakes in order to film them, rather than vice versa. We wanted to film a black-breasted kite. It basically likes to brood in dead trees in the Outback, but very high up. So we built a tower in order to get up to its level. I think it was 13 meters high, meaning that we were precisely at eye level with a black-breasted kite. The tower had a base measuring just 1 square meter, so it wasn't exactly in a stable position on the ground. Now we only need to fasten the safety bonds to the ground. I have to admit that I had clammy hands climbing up there. In my opinion, climbing up that tower is definitely a feat. The tower moves in the wind just like a sailing boat. It does this. And you constantly feel like everything is moving. Are you ready? Yeah, I got it. Careful, careful, it's about to bash against the leather. No, I've got my foot on it, everything's okay. Okay. That was pretty wobbly indeed. Luckily, Toralf shot all the images. I didn't have to climb up the tower and was pretty pleased about that. The worst part was actually climbing back down. That was good for the filming. I always stayed up there for a long time. The most difficult thing about the filming was actually these wombats. You have to have a whole lot of patience to film wombats. First, you have to find a burrow in which you might be able to find one. Whenever we were on the road, we therefore always kept an eye out for wombat burrows. The best way to find a wombat population is simply to look for the most roadkill on the road. And when we thought, well, there are a lot of them lying on the road, so there must be a lot of them in the area. That's when we obviously had the most success in actually finding some. I've never come across such a difficult animal before, and that made the attempt somewhat extremely appealing. How can I do it? We tried out every single option. We tried using a hide. We tried just sitting and waiting for several days. We tried everything you could possibly imagine. Most of them used to disappear in their burrows at a flight distance of 80 to 200 meters. The possibilities of actually capturing them on film are very limited. We did find one method right at the end, namely to get them between us in order to confuse them. We did so by having one person with a camera approach them in a vehicle. The wombat therefore focused its attention on the vehicle, and I snuck up on it from behind. By doing so, we actually managed to get within about 30 meters of the animals. Actually managing to shoot images of these animals is therefore a reason to be very happy. I'm very pleased with them, I reckon. We were extremely lucky to have the chance to take aerial shots of extensive areas of Australia. All of these images were filmed from a helicopter using a stabilized camera platform, a so-called Cineflex. The Cineflex is in a ball that stabilizes the camera and hangs under the helicopter. We had a Cineflex operator, he was called Klaus Stuhl. The Cineflex system is very complicated, which is why we have a camera operator. He sits next to me and has a control panel with different joysticks that he can use to move the camera in all directions, as it were. In front of him is a large screen that he can use to see what the camera can see. I can see it too as I'm sitting next to him. So when I'm sitting next to the operator, I look at the screen with him, and then as the director on location, so to speak, I can tell him what I want. For example, I would like to film this waterfall and so on, and that's what he does. You then also need to discuss the shoot with a pilot, because he's the one flying the helicopter. If the teamwork is right and all the factors come together, you can film some stunning images. The aerial shots show a side of Australia that normal people don't actually get to see. We actually flew over the whole of Australia in the helicopter, over all the locations in which we filmed on the ground. That's ultimately what we did for 14 days. We flew around Ayers Rock and over the Barrier Reef, to the 12 Apostles right down south the coast, in the desert, everywhere, really. I was also fascinated by the cassowary, the giant bird. Finding a cassowary was rather complicated. We traveled many kilometers that took a long time. I'll drive now. It also rains a lot, which isn't something you really connect with Australia. The area upriver had experienced unbelievably strong rainfall. We need to go through the river with our car. We didn't dare to try, however, because we were scared that it might be washed away and gone for good, including equipment and people. The area is teeming with crocodiles. We decided we'd rather not make the journey today. But we eventually ended up taking the risk, even though we had a bad feeling about it. There's the next river already. Oh well, it won't be as bad. Hopefully not. But that does look pretty... Are you sure that we should drive through that? Oh man. It's deeper than you think. My goodness, that's deep. It's going to wash right through the doors. Cool. Everything's okay. No problem. Let's move on. The first location that we'd chosen had been destroyed by a big tornado, so we had to move further north, where we knew we'd find some cassowaries. There are only a few cassowaries left in the world, probably around 1,500 in these huge forests in Australia. Look, here's one of those fruits. We knew that the cassowaries like these fruits, so we sat there and waited. Bloodsucker. Thoralf and I have now been working together for 20 years. We sit there in silence for hours on end, which is perfectly fine, but sometimes we are also like an old married couple. Being together with just one person all the time can sometimes really get on your nerves. Yes, of course, there's sometimes quarrel and strife, but we don't bear a grudge, so things are over relatively quickly, and in this respect I'd say we're somehow made for each other. We're basically old friends, we're a good team and appreciate each other's company. We've already been sitting here for 4 hours now. Come on, it's time to change shifts. Okay then. It's my turn to read now. Is that my bookmark or yours? The first one's yours. We basically ended up sitting there for several weeks, which was obviously sometimes a bit boring. We've been sitting here the whole day now, almost. Yeah, around 6.5 hours or so. I'm going to take my own book with me tomorrow. Do you have one left? I think so. Oh my. Turn the camera on. Look. Look at that little thing, a chick. If the cassowary is looking after its young, the risk of it protecting its young is naturally a bit larger. He might therefore also easily attack people. There are a number of well-known fatal casualties in which people have died because cassowaries have very, very sharp claws and very powerful legs. If they feel threatened, pushed into a corner, they may well attack. We also experienced a situation in which a chick was curious and came over to me. They wanted to find out who these two people were sitting on their stools in the forest behind cameras, which was kind of bizarre. And well, the adult cassowary didn't like that, so he came up very close to us. They make a very deep sound, a kind of whoop whoop. And then we also got kind of scared, said that he was too close for comfort. He was pretty worked up and making strange noises. That was a bit weird. I mean, he came up and stood right in front of me, really only about 1.5 meters away from me. And then Thoralf stood up, he stood in the background with a stick, and then the cassowary went away again. And the situation was then resolved. The saltwater crocodiles in northern Australia are really dangerous, and now that I've seen how they act and what they can do, I certainly believe it. They are the largest reptiles around and can grow up to 6 meters long, sometimes even 8 meters. Saltwater crocodiles represent a type of animal that is quite rare, namely animals that really view human beings as prey. Swimming is prohibited here. At least it's certainly not a good idea, and you should also avoid getting too close to the water's edge. Well, exactly. Toralf, come over here with the camera. There's a wild boar rummaging about in the swamp behind me. Ideal food for crocodiles.
Ideales Krokodilfutter.
Seeing that, I thought, that's exactly what they would do with me. If a crocodile were to grab hold of me, it would throw me around just like a wild boar. It's crazy just how quickly they can suddenly explode out of the water, reacting to even the smallest of impulses. I have to say I have huge respect for crocodiles, and I think people need to have this respect because otherwise things get dangerous. We were in the area surrounding Lake Erie, where we wanted to film some landscapes. But all of these plans were soon sculptured because of the buzz sound that we heard the moment the sun came up, when we were suddenly surrounded by thousands of flies. They actually constantly prevent you from doing any filming whatsoever. You have to keep taking off your hand all the time to swat the flies away, to film a decent shot in which there aren't any flies sitting on your lens. I've literally never experienced anything so annoying before in my life, but if there are 1,000 flies in front of you, it doesn't make any sense to try to film. Let's get it over with, the flies are annoying. A lot of tasks where you'd think, that sounds really easy, turned out to be impossible. We eventually had to abort our attempts, exasperated. And then one of the flies crawled into my ear. He spent the whole night whining to me about what he should do and whether or not we should go to the doctor. We couldn't get it out, it was impossible, but the doctor was 500 kilometers away. We tried to fish it out somehow using tweezers and other strange devices, but we just couldn't get to it. Insects can sometimes be very annoying. I'm a great animal lover, but even I have my limits. It eventually managed to escape during the night by itself. The next morning it was suddenly gone. The trouble with koalas is that they sit very high up in the eucalyptus trees, normally around 30 meters high. We were extremely lucky to find a place in which koalas are easy to film. The great thing about this location is that the trees aren't that high, so we were able to get to the same level as the animals thanks to the hilly landscape. He doesn't say anything. We used a pole cam for some of our koala filming. We were able to hold this camera directly in front of the koalas and they didn't react to it. They just continued to nurture their young completely normally and carried their young around with them as well as continuing to eat. The cute thing is that you can really see every single finger and watch what they are doing. I find these images quite bizarre because you are actually sitting up in the tree with them. I thought that was amazing. Excellent shots. At first I thought that koalas were boring animals, but I said, okay, we'll film them, we're in Australia, so let's take a look. You'd normally think that koalas are modest and calm companions, cozy and peaceful. But they do indeed also have a dark side, and they aren't exactly friendly when it comes to their female counterparts. The male tries to approach the female and somehow copulate with her. She's not keen though and hits him, scratches him and kicks him. And he's always right behind her. He's naturally stronger than the female, and if the female can land a good hit, then he retreats. Or the female pulls away completely onto very thin branches, onto which the heavy male can't follow her. I actually grew fond of them after seeing all the things they can do. The mothers were courageous, timid, loving. I now appreciate them much more. The tree kangaroos can only be found in northern Australia, in the tropical part. We weren't exactly sure if we would be able to film tree kangaroos. Tree kangaroos have become very, very rare because large parts of their habitat have been destroyed. But we knew where they still can be found, and so we went into the forest. And we basically started to look for them up in the treetops. And they are really hard to find because they don't move around that much, and when they actually decide to stay up there in the trees, among the densely packed branches, then it's almost impossible to find them. We spent many days looking for these animals without success. You actually need to spend more time looking at the floor rather than in the air in order to search for droppings that have fallen from the trees. Hang on a second, take a look at this. What's this? It looks like it came from a kangaroo, right? Definitely. It's still relatively fresh too, right? Yeah, somehow fell down here. So there's either a kangaroo up there, or it's already moved on. Although they normally don't move that quickly and it's so fresh. Let's have a look then. I can't see anything here at the moment. You can often only see a tail somehow hanging down from a branch. I think you look for the tails and then, hey, there's definitely a kangaroo attached to the tail. There. Exactly. You can see the tail, right? Or is it a liana? No. That's super. How on earth did you see that? What chance? Is it a male or female? Wait a second, it's a female. Not bad. It has a pouch. I reckon there's a joey in there. Now it's peeking out. Look over here. It's sticking its head out of the pouch. How cute is that? We were particularly happy that we had been able to find a mother with her joey. We then followed this mother over a long period of time. So what do we do now? It's not in a good spot to film. Yeah, it's a bit too high, isn't it? The angle's too steep. Let's see if there's a good place to get a different camera view. Let's just quickly go in. It looks pretty good in here, doesn't it? I'm not sure if coming here really makes sense, but you don't know unless you try it. I think we spent a total of 3 weeks following the animal. 3 weeks times twice over even. Well, I can't see him anymore from where I'm standing, nor can I. I think we were better off where we were before. Maybe we'll get a better view from the back there. It's a bit more open here. A bit hidden. We filmed how the joey just peeked out from the pouch and then how he took his first steps. And that was special, because I don't think anyone has filmed something like that before. You also sympathize with the little thing. You hope it all goes well. Don't try such daring climbing maneuvers. Don't fall, because farmers' dogs or wild cats are often running around down below. You really strongly sympathize with them. And the really sad thing about the street kangaroo in particular is that I just found out that a wild dog apparently attacked the mother. She survived the attack, but her joey is gone. It died some time after we filmed it. This is particularly tragic because these street kangaroos are very rare and really threatened by extinction. The lyrebirds really are unbelievably fascinating birds, but what's even more impressive is, of course, their courtship display. They have a huge repertoire imitating birds that they hear around them and incorporating them into their own song. The courting display takes place in a very densely packed environment, and we therefore had to get very close to these animals in order to get a clear view of them. Toralf, can you hear me? Can you still see the bird? Do you know where the lyrebird is? Hello Jens, I can hear the lyrebird approximately 30 meters south of us, sitting on a mound, and I reckon he's dancing. No idea, I think I've lost him. I'm going to head over there and we'll meet there. And we again spent days on end, about 10 to 12 days tracking one single bird. We just kept on following him. What he does is build himself an arena, which is pretty cool. Right in the middle of the fern, that's normally about 2 meters wide, and then he starts to perform like a little madman, jumping around. The little guy really acts like a disco dancer. If I think back to my days as a teenager, it's a bit like I was back then. The tape is full. There's not even a minute left. Can you quickly go and get another one? You get unbelievably annoyed. Damn it, there are only 2 minutes left on the tape. Why didn't I change it before? You see, things like that sometimes mean missed opportunities, and that's unbelievably annoying. But good, it worked. When we had all the pictures in the can, we were really happy and a little bit proud. It was tough. Coming back here was definitely worth it. I agree. I'm really pleased with these images that we filmed, above all because we managed to achieve things that we didn't necessarily expect to achieve. We didn't expect to be able to film such excellent shots of cassowaries. We didn't think that we would be able to film huge flocks of bacharigas. I reckon when I've finished editing the film and the final cut is sitting in front of me, I'll probably think, well, that was actually pretty easy, but getting to this stage was a huge struggle. This animal world that we were able to get to know while filming probably might not exist anymore in the future. I really got a lot out of my time in Australia on a personal level too. The landscape really teaches you to be in awe of your life because it's simply so unbelievably sparse and there are a large number of possible situations that are life-threatening.